Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
And good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, Ipsy Ed Bonderenka.
Good morning, sir. Or good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, it's that time, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, well, welcome to The Drift. And what we do every Saturday is go over the news that we put on thedailydrift.com. It's
the news you need to know.
We did it perfect that time. See, sometimes when we put it together, it comes out just right.
We need to be more hassled just before we go on the air, and then everything come out right.
Well, let's take care of a little business then while we're here. Cheryl Stockwell Preparatory Academy. Listen, you don't have to send your kids to be propagandized in a public school system. Not saying all public schools are bad, mind you, but if you find yourself and your children in a school situation that they're teaching you about things you don't want the kids to know,
or you want a higher level of education.
Try Cheryl Stockwell Preparatory Academy in Brighton. You can go to
It just sounds better on a resume. Preparatory Academy.
Preparatory, yes. csaschool.org, csaschool.org, or you can call 810-225-9940. Or you can get them on Twitter at CSA District. Yep, pretty simple. Yep. And if you're not on Twitter, you should be. You can look me up at Gary Daily Drift. And Ed, what's yours? You don't remember.
I don't remember. That jungle.
Just look for Ipsy Ed. You'll find it.
At Ipsy Ed. That's it.
At Ipsy Ed. Okay, so just a ton to go over this week. I guess we'll start with the border deal. We don't know if the president is going to sign the border deal yet, right? He went ahead and declared, but he hasn't signed, has he?
I thought he did.
I don't know.
I'm all confused.
When I looked this morning, I wasn't sure. So if somebody's got an update for me,
it'd be nice
please.
if he didn't. I'd appreciate it if he didn't, frankly.
I'm torn, right?
Well,
I know there were some poison pills in there. Matt Gaetz, I saw on Fox earlier in the week, said there wasn't the poison pills in there, but other people I've seen said, yes, there are poison pills in there. And I'm not sure. So it's one of those things, if there's 1,200 pages.
Listener contribution, what do you know?
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, so call into the show, 734-822-69. I don't think he signed it as of yet, but I could be wrong. So I'm not the expert on all things, as much as I may think that I am. But we're going to start with the House having passed it. So, Derek, do you got track one ready?
Excuse me a second. 22 hours ago, President Trump signs bill to avert government shutdown.
Oh, he did sign it.
You were really throwing me off there for a second.
Throwing myself off, because I looked this morning. I'm like,
and
where's the story that he actually signed the bill? Did he?
Yeah.
But that says he did sign it, for sure.
22 hours ago.
Okay, well, then we're good. Look at that. He went ahead and did it.
And you can believe that. That's the New York Times. You can believe that.
You just undid it for me. So I'm still unsure if it came from the New York Times saying that, because I didn't see it. I drudged it up the whole 9 yards. I didn't see it. Well, which is strange, right? So anyways, if somebody has some information, I don't trust the New York Times. But Derek, you got track one showing the House at least passed it.
The House voted Thursday night to approve a border security deal that prevents a new government shutdown in a 300 to 128 vote. The vote sets up President Trump to sign the legislation and to declare a national emergency as a way of getting more federal funds for his wall on the Mexican border. The House-passed legislation falls far short of Trump's demand for $5.7 billion for a wall on the Mexican border, and Trump is likely to sign the legislation somewhat reluctantly. Conservative pundits have lambasted the deal worked out by appropriators, and the House Freedom Caucus on Thursday night largely voted against it.
Okay, so we're assuming that the president did sign it based on our information right here from the New York Times.
And the question would be why? And why did the negotiators come up with this deal?
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Who chose the Republicans to be on that committee? Hello?
I'm
Anybody?
imagining Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell.
So Mr. McCarthy, are you turning into Paul Ryan and sending in your weakest negotiators to sit there and talk about this? 1.3 billion, 1.4, call it. It's almost 1.4. And does the president sign or not? Now, for me, if there weren't poison pills in there, and I'm assuming the president had huge number of people looking at it, reading it, and as well as other Republicans in the Freedom Caucus looking at it, pushing for those things. And a large amount of Republicans in the House did not vote for it. And I can understand that. I wanted to look and see if our own Tim Walberg or Alyssa Slotkin voted for it. I think Alyssa Slotkin would have voted for it. I
can't see Walberg not, tell you the truth.
I don't know either. We'll look for it. Maybe during the break we'll look for it. But for me, when he said, listen, I'm going to do it, because I guess here's the way I look at it. I'll take the 1.4. I'll take 30% of a solution as opposed to no solution. So he's got 1.4 to spend, allegedly, if there's no poison pills in it. So if he starts building based on that $1.3 billion and then now declares the national emergency as he has, and there's allegedly, another $8 billion from various departments that he's going to pull in, Democrats saying no, there's going to probably be a legal suit against that. How do you know if the money's coming for whatever? It's probably going to start in several places.
Military, about $4 million out of military spending.
How can anybody prove that money is not this and that money is not that? So he can at least start.
So even if the same accountants that do Planned Parenthood, and prove that abortion funding is not coming from the federal government.
So the wall continue. It's already being built, but now we can continue with whatever additional miles that need to be done because of the 1.3. So no matter what the courts say, as long
as local governments on the border and whatever else,
I heard that.
Yeah,
I heard that. And Matt Gaetz said that is in there, but it does not stop. It's DHS working with the local township, taking in the local township's thoughts on the matter, but it doesn't stop them. That's what Matt Gaetz
Okay,
said.
I had the impression it vetoed, but I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you have to pass it to see what's in it. That's
exactly. And we're not
1,100 pages. 1,100 pages in a dump.
Yeah,
and sign it now.
Which, again, right? We have to
sign it now.
Do they wait on purpose?
They do.
Like this?
They
so
do.
That nobody knows, and they go ahead and let's pass it right now.
I would have hated, I know we got to call it, but I got to say, I would have hated to have been on that negotiating team, to be honest with you, because it was a lose-lose situation. We know that they weren't going to do another shutdown because the most massive political power in this country is opposed to a shutdown, and that's the media. That's what everybody listens to, what molds public opinion, and no matter what the problem was, it would be blamed on Republicans. So we have to leave it to Trump's political decision, do I do this or not?
Yeah, and so he did. Now, what I do want to bring up is something we heard on Rush earlier this week, and there was a poll out that puts Trump's approval ratings at 52%, highest ever since he's taken office, after the shutdown.
Yeah.
After the shutdown.
After the State of the Union, too.
Did the shutdown really affect Republicans? The media wants to show you and tell you that it did, but are the American people still so sleepy that they would believe that? I don't know that they are.
I thought that was also influenced by the State of the Union, too, though.
I
don't know that it was, but that's the impression I had.
But the two go hand in hand, right?
Well, exactly.
I had the government shutdown.
The shutdown didn't hurt them.
Because the Democrats would not do it. So I gave them 2 additional weeks to try and put this together, blah, blah, blah. It's there. So I don't know that shutdowns really do hurt Republicans. And I wish the Republicans in Washington would say, maybe it's not hurting us. Maybe we're standing up for what Americans want. And that 63 million Americans voted for Trump to build the darn wall.
I think a majority of American citizens are starting to realize who the Democrats really are.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Especially after Ocasio and Ilham, what's her face?
It's a perfect storm of stupidity.
Yeah.
It really is. And
Ilham Omar.
Ilhan Omar, anti-Semitic.
Yep.
And hates America.
Anti-America. Anti-Elliott Abrams.
Minnesota, what are you doing? People want to blame it on the Somali contingent in Minnesota, but it's not.
It's not all of Minnesota, just like all of Michigan is not Wayne County, okay?
Yeah. But for that district, I thought I saw earlier this week.
The Somalis got settled.
Yeah, it's true. But from what I saw in her district, 72% of the people that voted her were average white Americans.
Democrats.
They're
It's a urban municipality, so they're Democrats.
It's astounding. So don't blame it on the Somali contingent there. It was liberals who voted her in.
Can I expand on something?
Sure.
The whole Green Deal, we got to realize, well, I don't want to go exactly there yet, But when they talk about limiting personal travel, okay, to high-speed rail, okay, I've lived in Germany. You live in Germany. So when you have high-speed rail, that's all great. But everybody lives in urban centers because how are you going to get to the rail station if you don't take a cab or walk or take a bicycle?
Right.
So you have to be congested in this area. And that's what the Democrats want.
Sure.
They don't want people spread out rurally. They don't want suburban developments. They want everybody in urban environments because that breeds this Democratic point of view.
You know what it does? Yeah. It puts us into our own little camps.
Yeah.
So that we can be propagandized, brainwashed, maybe disposed of.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah.
I'm sorry, America, but that's the way I'm looking at Democrats. They want to herd you into small spaces in urban settings so they can control you and do with you whatever they want. If you think I'm crazy, take a look at Agenda 21 or 30 or whatever they've got out now. They want to save the rest of the planet for openness so that the rich and elite can enjoy it, while you are herded into urban settings where you can be controlled and subjugated. It's all about the
government
power.
subsidized housing. There's something about being in that large metro area that forms your political opinion to the left.
Yes.
It's like something they put in the water.
That's because they can put up as many TV screens on the street corners as they want and propagandize you 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, let's take a call from Detroit who wants to talk about the spending bill. Tom, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
See, Tom lives in Detroit.
I'm
Tom's
already in an urban area, so
I was thinking of you.
They can't get me. Yeah, they can't get me. I don't even know where I am. Hey, I was listening. Ann Coulter has been doing interviews, and I think she used to be a big Trump supporter, and I thought, anyway, she's been saying that there's stuff buried in that bill where it's going to prevent Trump from using any kind of emergency powers or anything like that. It limits, apparently it unappropriates money that he was counting on. There's a couple of statutes that give him power, emergency powers, and they apparently put things in there that limit that power, but only as far as building a wall.
Yeah.
And, I hate to give you news like that, and I mean, it remains to be seen. I haven't read the bill, but she seemed to know what she was talking about. And,
I don't know that
he signed it without reading it, and I mean, if that's what he did, I'm very disappointed.
No. Well, you know Donald Trump is a contract guy, right? I'm sorry. Anyone that says Donald Trump didn't know what was in there, he knew exactly what was in there because he's got as many people as he needs to go through it, read it. He's got the Freedom Caucus that was talking in his ear. He's got people like Matt Gaetz, Congressman Matt Gaetz, who I trust very much, saying that some of those things that people are saying are in there are not true. And that, so I got to believe Donald Trump signed this. If there were bad things in it, he weighed them out as opposed to what was good in it and went for it. And in addition to that said, I'm also declaring a national emergency at the border, which is my right that Congress gave him in 1971 or 76. 76. And he went ahead and signed it. And so now we've got that, but he's also got additional money. There will be lawsuits and whatever else.
Well, the ACLU is already launched.
Yeah. Let them launch.
The only thing is it's clear in the Constitution that Congress appropriates money. The only time anything can be taken from the Treasury is when Congress appropriates it.
Right.
And I've been hearing that, it's already been appropriated back, and I don't know the statutes off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But
that's my point. That was my point. I heard the same argument. He doesn't have the authority. He has the authority as an executive to move money from account to account, much like my wife does.
Yeah. What I heard from a lawyer who was talking about it said there are monies, aside from the issue whether he's got the right to do it. According to 1976 law, he does. Mm-hmm. Now, moving the money around from those other departments that allow him to have an additional $8 billion. What I was told was that he looked at all those departments, found the money that had been earmarked without constraints, and that is the money he's talking about using.
Right.
And now that, of course, can be one at a time. But this attorney said there's so much of they may get one or two, but they're not going to get it all because of the authorities that were not taken when Congress appropriated that money. They didn't put restrictions on it, and that's what Trump is looking. I got to believe Trump is smart enough as a businessman to look at contracts, look at the legalese, bring in the best